Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Korean drama A Time Called You. So let's get into it. This drama stars An Hyo-seop and Jeon Yo-bin and Kang Hoon. Now, I will say that this drama, it's not confusing, but let me just explain it for a bit. I'm gonna take my time. So, the male lead has an accident and jumps into a homosexual man's body. The homosexual man's body he jumped into was also in an accident at the same time in an alternative timeline, because he was looking at his potential boyfriend and they got into a car accident. So the straight male lead enters into the homosexual guy's body, and then he meets the female lead in this alternative timeline. And he knew her in the past. He knew her when she was younger, except for the fact that he knew her doppelganger, not her. So they fall in love, and then he gets into a plane crash, but he didn't actually die. It was another version of him that died, and the female lead spends like the first half of the show believing that he's still alive, and he is still alive, and like seeing him and stuff like that, and then like they'll later reconnect. The doppelganger version of the female lead is the complete opposite of our female lead. Like, she is introverted, socially awkward, incredibly anxious, and incredibly insecure. The second male lead is in love with the doppelganger. The male lead, the doppelganger, and the second male lead all met in high school, and they befriended her because she literally had no friends. And they befriended her because the second male lead was just in love with the doppelganger. He is partially deaf, and he just really likes her. He thought she was such a sweet girl. She liked the male lead, the doppelganger liked the male lead. So we go back and forth between the timelines. The main lead's relationship in the alternative timeline is really nice, but one of the main reasons he's in a plane crash is because she goes to New York for a job opportunity, and then he tries to meet her months later, gets into the plane crash. She didn't actually die from it, and then she'll meet him later on, and he'll explain literally everything that happened. She will then jump into the alternative timeline and take the place of the doppelganger, and the doppelganger will end up in like this like weird in-between universe while she's watching the female lead live her life. And the female lead's personality is completely different to the doppelganger, so she's very extroverted. People like her now and stuff like that. So by the time they swap back, the doppelganger's now got like more of an inferiority complex, because she's like, you don't know what it's like to not be liked. You don't know what it's like to be socially awkward. You don't know what it's like to be me. To the point where she self-analyzed. Like, the reason why she self-analyzed is because she watched her doppelganger live her life and do it better, to the extent that like even her own family members, like her mother, her father, her brother, preferred the female lead to her. And she dies. And then in the alternative timeline, the second male lead also died as a result of not being able to save her from self-unaliving, because he's trying to talk her out of it and she jumps anyway. And then he dies in that alternative timeline because he decides to go to prison for the fact that he didn't save her. He basically claims that he murdered her, even though he didn't murder her, he just couldn't convince her to live. And then his grandma dies after he gets out of prison, and then he kills himself at the same spot that she killed herself at. Like, it's just like, oh my lord. And like, basically the way it ends is, I mean, the leads who are in love sacrifice their own romantic relationship to basically ensure that the second male lead and doppelganger live. And at the end, the doppelganger realizes how sweet the second male lead is, and they start to form a bond kind of thing, but it kind of cuts off there. I will say that the vibes of this drama with the doppelgangers and the jumping in different bodies and the alternative universe and watching somebody live your life was really giving Us by Jordan Peele. Like, it was freaking me out, because you can imagine like how the doppelganger must have felt, especially because you had a completely different, personality to the female lead. Like, it was incredibly violating, and the female lead apologized to her for it. She's like, I'm really, really sorry for doing that to you, because the thing is, when the doppelganger was in that in-between bit, would call out to the female lead and be like, hey, I'm here. I don't know if the female lead was like purposefully ignoring her or just didn't hear her, but like that just added more fuel to the fire. And it was just, I don't know, it was really sad, and I really felt for the second female lead, and I really related to her character. At the end, the leads like reunite in the future. They faintly recognize each other, like subconsciously, but you can assume they're gonna later bond and all these kind of things. It was a good drama. I rated it a 9.5. I didn't give it a 10 because I understand the whole point of the doppelganger was that her life was supposed to be like super depressing. The only person in her life outside of the male lead and second male lead that appreciated her was her uncle, who she worked for at like this like music store where they sold music DVDs. But I wish we got to see more of the development of her romantic relationship with the second male lead, and she got to appreciate him sooner. I would have loved to see how that developed, to be honest, because the second male lead was an absolute buttercup. Like, he was a green flag. I loved him, and I loved him more than the male lead. Like, he just was such a sweetheart, and he was the whole reason why they befriended the doppelganger in the first place. Let me also note that the doppelganger and the female lead are not the same age. There's about a 10-year age gap between them. I don't know, they don't show it. I don't know if like in the future they'll meet and then be like, why do we have the same face? Because they come from completely different families and have completely different lives. But that would be interesting to look into as well. Performances were good. The female lead was really good at just striking that difference between the doppelganger and the female lead. Like, the actress did a really, really good job at playing both of those roles. And I thought that was really cool. Melody did a good job too, but I mean, the actress, I mean, she shined. She absolutely shined in this show. And, this show obviously has like a massive trigger warning because of all the ideation and the self-unaliving. Like, it's incredibly dark and it's graphic too. You literally see everything and you really feel for the character. If you've known anybody who's ever been in that position, it can be quite triggering to watch. But it was so well, executed. I loved it. It was a beautiful story about friendship, love, and like overcoming. And, I don't really like time travel dramas, but I do think this one was well done. Another thing that I think could have been done better is the fact that like the homosexual dude, like, he dies and he just dies. Like, he never comes back. And like the male lead is essentially living his life for him, I guess, which, I don't know, it's a bit sad that his life got so cut short because he was staring at his potential boyfriend. But yeah, I mean, I like that when I watched the show, I could like kind of draw parallels with the show and like a horror movie, Us by Jordan Peele. And like I said, the performances were really good too, but I really enjoyed the drama, and like the message it had. It was definitely a message of like hope, and I love that. Let me know if you want this drama in the comments below. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. Thanks so much for listening. Bye bye.